I welcome you all to another live session of the Newsmaker series by SRM University, Andhra Pradesh. I am Dr. Anuj Deshpande, Assistant Professor in the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering at SRM University, Andhra Pradesh. On behalf of the SRM University, I would like to thank all of you for joining us in today's event. The Newsmaker series aims to motivate the students and the young researchers to achieve the best in their respective domains. Today, our newsmaker guest is Dr. Somesh Vinayak Tiwari, who is working as an assistant professor in the Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering at SRM University, Andhra Pradesh. Dr. Somesh completed his BTech degree in Electrical Engineering from West Bengal University of Technology, Kolkata, and MTech in Power Electronics and Drives from VIT Vellore. After his post-graduation study, Dr. Somesh joined as a Department of Atomic Graduate Fellow, that is a PhD scholar post, at Homi Bhabha National Institute, HBNI, Bhabha Atomic Research Center at Mumbai. There, he worked in an area of engineering sciences with a specialization in pulse power systems, insulation studies. After his PhD in 2015, he moved over to pursue postdoctoral research from the Institute of Plasma Research, Gandhinagar, in the area of ECR ion sources. In the year 2016, he was awarded the Indo Overseas Postdoctoral Research Fellowship by Science and Engineering Research Board, SERB, to carry out research at Technion Israel Institute of Technology at Israel in the area of underwater electrical explosion of wires. He returned in India in 2018, where he joined Institute of Plasma Research at Gandhinagar as a postdoctoral fellow. Since February 2019, he has been working at SRM University AP as an assistant professor in the Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering. Dr. Somesh was honored with Outstanding Doctoral Student Award in the category of Engineering Sciences for his research in the area of surface flashover study of insulator in gases at high pressure. The award was given by Board of Studies in Engineering Sciences of Homi Bhabha National Institute. Today, we will discuss with him about his experience through this successful journey. So without any further ado, let us welcome Dr. Somesh Tiwari and hear about his experiences. So Dr. Somesh, first of all, congratulations on your outstanding outstanding doctoral student award and Indo Overseas Postdoctoral Research Fellowship.
Thank you, Dr. Anuj. Good evening and welcome everyone. First of all, at the onset, I would like to thank our management, President Sir, Vice Chancellor Sir, Pro Vice Chancellor Sir, Registrar Sir, and especially Dr. Revati, who started the series of this newsmaker and provided me with a platform to go ahead and present my experience and my journey on the same. With two things Dr. Anuj asked, the Outstanding Doctoral Student Award and the Indo Overseas Postdoctoral Fellowship Award. Firstly, chronologically, I'll answer first on the Indo Overseas Postdoctoral Fellowship Award, which was awarded to me in the year 2016. This fellowship I'd like to highlight a little on. This fellowship is basically provided to the Indian research scholars by Science and Engineering Research Board to carry out his or her postdoctoral studies, postdoctoral research in any university around the world except the United States of America. During this fellowship, in order to secure this fellowship, the candidate has to have a collaborator, a supervisor. He needs to establish a contact with him, share the research idea, arrive at a research proposal, submit the research proposal to SERB, and then on, depending upon the candidature, depending upon the candidate profile, his area of interest, the requisite areas of interest of SERB for Indo Overseas Fellowship, some of which are material study, chemistry, chemicals, then high energy. You slowly get on for evaluation, and finally you get, if selected, be awarded with the Indo Overseas Postdoctoral Fellowship. And during the next 1 year or so, you carry out your postdoctoral research with the help of an Indian funding at a university selected of your choice abroad. So this is as far as the Indo Overseas Postdoctoral Fellowship is concerned. For my
Thank you, Dr. Somesh. This was definitely a very long process, and it must be very painstaking to go through all this process and wait for the review process and all these things. So now we want to know, how do you feel after achieving such wonderful awards?
So for the Indo Overseas Postdoctoral Fellowship Award, I started my application exactly, I remember, in the year of December 2015. I got a confirmation from my overseas supervisor then on within a month. And then I had to submit all the details, his recommendations, his acceptance to SERB, and finally got selected around June or July in the year of 2016. So the process took me a bit long time, but the wait and the struggle was worthy, because the experience I had over there, I'll cherish it throughout my life.
Okay, you definitely seem to have cherishing your life after your awards, and I hope you had a wonderful experience in India as well as abroad.
Yeah.
So I heard from you that you had a very nice event at BARC regarding your outstanding doctoral student award. So can you please tell us about your experience or your memories about the event when you received that award in BRC?
Uh, Basically, the Outstanding Doctoral Student Award is given on the foundation day of the Homi Bhabha National Institute, an autonomous institute under the Department of Atomic Energy, Government of India, which looks after 12 constituent units like the Bhabha Atomic Research Center, Mumbai, the Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research, Kalapakkam, the Raja Ramanna Center for Advanced Technology, Indore, Variable Energy Cyclotron Center, Kolkata, Institute for Plasma Research, Gandhinagar, IMSC, Chennai, Harishchandra Research Institute, Allahabad, and Saha Institute of Nuclear Physics, and a few more. So the students in the area of chemical sciences, you may say it, chemistry, all branches, life sciences, physical sciences, and engineering sciences, based upon their PhD work, are basically judged by the board of studies of the respective of the Homi Bhabha National Institute, which comprises of scientists and professors within and outside. So after your PhD, you get in a notification of such a award on the university website. You need to apply to the same, and such awards do look in on the impact of your research, how the referees rate your research, what are the societal impacts of the research. And since I did my PhD under the Department of Atomic Energy Graduate Fellowship Scheme, which is a scheme provided by Homi Bhabha National Institute and by the Department of Atomic Energy, which provides the funding to carry out research. So the projects are basically should be of relevance to the Department of Atomic Energy program. It should be of real relevance to the department in which you are working. So you are usually expected to work on a life problem and come to a conclusion of the same. So you need to deliver, in short.
Yes.
So based on these, I applied once I joined SRM in April 2019, and I got to hear that I have received such an award by the university in the month of May 2009.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Somesh. This seems to be a very exciting journey about what you have told. And looking at the competition that you mentioned about this process and different institutes those are involved, it seems to be the award is highly competitive and very prestigious in this particular domain. So again, congratulations from us on receiving such a big award.
Thank you.
And now, can you please tell us about who are all eligible for this award? Like, is it only for the PhD scholars, or is it for the can BTech students apply for it, or do you need to be in a specific institute? What are the eligibility criteria?
During Homi Bhabha National Institute, not only caters to the research programs on PhD in the life sciences, engineering, chemical, or physical. They also provide outstanding Master Scholar Award as well for the MTech.
Okay.
Then you have this Tata Memorial Center, a very famous center at Parel in Mumbai, which is very famous for cancer research and other studies. So outstanding doctoral scholars are also getting awarded MDs, MS in different areas of their research are also being awarded on that very day, and they similarly going through a given set of competitions. So you have, since the Homi Bhabha National Institute is mainly and totally a research oriented university with masters and PhD scholars as of now. So the awards basically cater in to the affiliated institutes of the university. However, you need to apply to the same after your completion of your research, and then you need to go in the entire process which I explained. So this is the total idea behind carrying out such an award.
So in short, you mean to say that it is not only the PhD students or the master students are also eligible for this
The
award?
master students who are pursuing their MBBS, further
Okay.
on MD or MS, they too are eligible for the awards, and many of them have received the awards together with us. So this is a very big event, an entire whole day event being conducted there.
Okay, sure. Thank you, Dr. Somesh, for your inputs. Now, let us see some of your memories and like that will be kind of nostalgia for you. And let us see what you can recollect from these photographs that we have.
This
So,
is
yes.
basically me receiving the award from Professor Dr. Anil Sahasbuddhe. He is chairman All India Council for Technical Education. Along with me, you can see Professor Vasudev Rao, Vice Chancellor, Homi Bhabha National Institute, just with Dr. Anil Sahasbuddhe. And on his side of Professor Anil Sahasbuddhe is Mr. K.N. Vyas, Chairman, Atomic Energy Commission and Secretary, Department of Atomic Energy. We have a few people on dais. One of them I can make it out as Professor Anil Kakotkar, Padma Bhushan. He was the ex-chairman of the Atomic Energy Commission. And we also had Mr. Dr. Shri Kumar Banerjee, Chancellor, Homi Bhabha National Institute. Then he was also the ex-chairman DAE and ex-secretary Atomic Energy Commission. So we had a few more dignitaries on the dais along with this. So this is me receiving the gold medal from the chief guest, Professor Anil Sahasbuddhe. And that is one thing.
That's really sounds great. And I hope it must be a very proud moment for you to be among such dignitaries.
Yeah, definitely. It was me amongst all the directors and chairmen whom we had just an introduction when we entered to do PhD, and just going and receiving the mere thought rather of going and receiving the award from them on the dais was really, really fascinating. Can I say? I do not have words for that.
Okay, great memory for you to cherish.
Yeah.
Now we will come back to a little technical question. Just please try to explain that in the simple words because it is for our students.
Yeah.
Right. So please tell us about your research, which led you to this particular award.
Um, if I may start from very basic, if I may try to relate it from basic electrical engineering, which I teach, the course which I teach here at SRM, fundamentals, we usually talk of 230 volt AC 50 hertz. We see
Yes.
that transmission line around as we enter our university, maybe an 11 kV, 132 kV lines, 50 hertz. Now, what if I talk of instead of 50 hertz, I talk of 3 gigahertz, 1 gigahertz, and same voltage. So basically, if you look at an AC waveform, if you try to compress the waveform, so that same amount of energy, the peak rises very, very slowly. So very rapidly. So once the peak rises rapidly, if I say about a frequency of a 1 gigahertz, you can calculate the time in nanoseconds, microseconds. So since the time period gets reduced, that same peak of the pulse rise. So it's no longer 132, maybe it's 300. So if such a sort of energy is dumped into any given system, that leads to many, many applications for electronics, microwaves, radars, for people in electrical engineering, problems in transmission line. Lightning is a very good example, a very big example of such a high voltage coming on for a very short instant of time. So such sort of problems, as I said, since I was a DAE fellow, I needed to constrain myself in a department problem. So if I may slightly elaborate it, wherein there was a system named the Kali system, the kiloampere linear injector, basically. So if you can, if then students will understand kiloampere injection. So such a system gives in kiloamperes of current and megavolts voltage, right? Now, there are many components in the system in which there might be some solid insulation. We see ceramics all around in transmission line. So there are certain specific types of insulators on which I worked was this Perspex and Delrin, chemically known for chemical interest as Perspex as polymethyl methacrylate and Delrin as polyoxymethylene. These were the two common insulators rapidly used in the department. So my basic journey or idea in research started, how do I mitigate the problem of flashover when such systems are under pressure? Such short duration pulses are subjected to such short duration pulses, and there are varying form of insulator. Somewhere you see a solid insulator, liquid around, solid vacuum around, solid gas around. So the pulse has to reach to the application. I give a 230, I should get a 30 um, kV at the output, or rather I should get a 1 MV at the output in the real time system. How do I get so? How do I minimize losses? How do I run the system for long? So unless I get an idea of what's the uh, physics behind the engineering, so that is one very important part of my research.
Okay, great. Thank you, Doctor, so much for putting that thing in a simplest possible manner.
Yeah.
I hope people understood something from what you said. Okay, because we have some undergraduate students in the
Yeah.
audience, that's why I'm saying. I
Yeah,
hope
definitely. I wanted to relate it from 230 volt basic electrical engineering single phase AC.
yes.
So
Okay, so let's go on to the next question, which is what is the impact of this particular award on what you research you're performing today, or what is the impact of this particular award on your profile today?
Dr. Anuj, basically, if I may say in very simple terms, awards give an appreciation of your work, a push to work hard. When I started my journey as a research scholar, I was the only students doing the research under my guide in this area. So my journey started in developing the system, the 300 kilovolt. I just said in my previous 132 kV line I do give this example to my students when I teach in class. So 300 kV system, 2 kiloampere with a rise time, which is also very important term for electronic students as well, a rise time of 5 nanoseconds. So the development of such a system was very challenging. And this sort of an experience is very necessary, and understanding is very necessary to carry out your future research in the area of pulse power systems or even high voltage. So such a sort of research is the basic foundation of understanding. And such award, the impact was, I felt as if I should work more to in some allied related areas so that I get to know more. I get to understand more. This is how I take up research, in short.
Yeah, that's a very good statement made by Dr. Somesh, that award is a kind of trust that gives you to achieve more. So thank you for this advice. Now we'll move on to the next part. Now, can you tell us what difficulties or what challenges you faced in your research or in your overall research career so far to achieve at this point and to get those awards, the 2 awards that you have got?
Basically, I did not work in one single area after my PhD. So during my PhD in the area of pulse power systems, basically, such systems, my system, if I correctly remember, is 1.5 meter in height. So that is a high voltage system. You need to enclose the system. You need to pressurize the system to go to such high voltages. You have at a point 300 kV coming in. You need to be very cautious. You need to be very sure that your grounding is proper. You do not face any reversers. You did not damage the supply system. You do not damage the diagnostics. And still, you smoothly carried out your research. So this was one thing as an experimentalist in that during my research, I felt that that was pretty challenging. Many months, many days passed on without any result. So if you see such a big system standing in front of you and you are not able to do anything, that gives you not a thrust but a pushback. So what I feel that therein I tried to work patiently, slowly, that someday I'll get the result. So that is one thing. Not only a research scholar, but even an undergraduate and a graduate student should keep in mind that if you work on slowly, one day or the other, you are definitely bound to get your result. So that on that note, I worked on during my postdoc at IPR. I worked in the area of the underwater electrical wire explosion. If I am allowed to narrate, I'll narrate one very interesting and a bit of funny incident which happened with me during my career there. The background of both my research at Israel and in India at BRC, the system, the high energy system remains the same. The structure changes, the architecture changes, the circuitry changes, but the basic idea of dumping energy remains the same. So since the wire explosion studies, kilojoules of energy are dumped in very short wire strains, maybe a 30 millimeter wire, spherical array wire, wherein you need to dump the energy to understand the shock wave propagation. You need to basically explode. So you need to cover the system. You need to be very, very sure that the shock wave doesn't damage your electrical system. It should not lead to water going in the system because underwater, as the name says, is within water. So once during one of my experiences with glycerol as a surrounding medium, I just was new to the lab, was new to the setup. I did not tighten the setup very firmly. So the blast was good, the shot was good, the data was good, but the mess around was not good. So you need to understand and appreciate. However, I did not get such a scolding or why you did so from my supervisor there, because he was busy on the plot and not on the mess. So I managed to clean it up. So this is one thing I would like to remember fondly. But yeah, such areas are challenging. Such areas do require a team, sometimes support, because handling high voltage is bit, you should be cautious.
Yeah, I would say you had a blasting experience in your research.
Yeah, yeah, I do agree. Yeah.
So, with your Indo-Overseas postdoctoral research fellowship, you went on to have a postdoctoral position in Israel. So, can you tell us more about your overall experience? How was the work culture different in Israel, and what things you did in Israel? A
Uh,
little more elaboration on what you just said about the explosion part.
as we have grown up in Indian environment, 10, 12, BTech, MTech, and then PhD. Even Dr. Anuj might agree on this. We have a habit of calling Sir, Madam. That is a
Yes.
very common feature. Yeah. During my interactions with my professor, usually when you start off writing a postdoctoral proposal or a research proposal for a postdoctoral fellowship, giving in your CVs and all, you tend to write, "Dear sir." We do not write what the name, first name or the last name is. So during the first few days therein, I used to make a mistake of calling sir. So that was one thing in the very initial I done. I need to call my professor, uh, Krasik, Yakov. So and suddenly when you speak to India to some of your supervisors, you need to change your tone immediately. So that is one thing, difference on a lighter note I felt. Apart from that, when I worked in the area of underwater electrical wire explosion, this area is pretty challenging because of the construction required before the experiment. So you can see, if I may give an example of such a construction to my undergraduate students, all of us have seen that table tennis ball. What is the size? If I give the ball and I ask you like to make a cage out of that, so 40 such turns with two of the ends of a very small diameter, guess 5 centimeters or so. The construction is pretty challenging. So therein, as a newcomer to the field, I used to um, feel very challenging in such constructions, and then assembling of the setup, because as I said in a light humor just uh, a while back, that I need to be very careful that I maintain the explosion in line of sight of the diagnosis. I used to work with a camera costing, if I may say, costing crores of rupees with a very low power electronics. Dr. Anuj might agree. The street cameras, the nanosecond imaging. And as an electrical engineer, I have to make friendship with that system so that I did not damage the system therein. So those things, how you will understand the imaging, the optics. So if I may say, once I moved on overseas, I no longer remained just an electrical engineer, but a mix of all. So you need to know physics, you need to know optics, so you need to handle lasers, you need to be well equipped with your high voltage setup. You need to understand the diagnostics, the kit. How do you take the delay, the waveform? Because we deal in nanoseconds. So if the time range is 10 nanosecond and I have to take an imaging, my scaling should be of 2 nanoseconds, so that I get, after every 2 seconds, I get an image. So my synchronization in the system should be such that I do not falter. So it was more of a challenging, but I did not, after finishing nearly 2 years, I did not understand how did I finish so far, means so quickly. Means I miss those times, because with work you don't usually remember how much time you are working. The time goes back and the work leads. So that is one thing I enjoyed. There was a lot of support around. So that is one thing.
Yeah, that was really a wonderful experience. And I just want to tell our audience that such awards like Indo Overseas Postdoctoral Research Fellowship Awards, this is the thing that you get to experience. That you can visit other countries, you can You can go to their work culture. You can see what happens there. You will get a different feel of experience, different feel of research, different feel of the office place. Everything is different, right? That's what Dr. Somesh means to employ, right, Dr. Somesh? Am I making
Yeah,
any?
Dr. Anuj is correct. And on a lighter note, if I may say, you get a taste of the delicacies of the country.
Oh,
That is an
yes.
added benefit. If you're a food lover, if you're a culture lover, you get to see you get to know the people around you, experience what the world is around. So therein, you can, I will not say the term rate yourself, but you should intermingle with yourselves. You should gel with people around so that to go for a better science.
Sure, sure,
Sharing
sure.
of ideas. If I may say, my overseas postdoctoral supervisor always used to poke me and tell me to come into a discussion, give your ideas. How did you get in there? So that sort of a thing you get to learn. You get to be very involved there, apart from the environment surroundings. So that is one thing apart from the regular work.
Great. Dr. Somesh, as you mentioned your supervisor, let me share some pictures with you. I am not very sure if that's your supervisor, but you can tell us what that picture is about.
Um, this is he's Professor Jakub Prasik. He is the heading the plasma and the pulse power systems wing in the Department of Physics of Technion Israel Institute of Technology. Well-known faculty in the field of pulse power systems. If there's one more interesting, if I may say, a bit of humor regarding this image as well, and if I'm allowed to share so.
Yes, please.
So herein, I told this is my last few days there. So I'm about to finish off with things. The boss said, you need to collect the data, you need to analyze. I said, boss, one thing, I need to have a picture with yours because I usually used to see your pictures in transactions only.
Oh,
Because he is a big name in the field of an outstanding reviewer, editors in some journals. So, very big name in the field, very strong collaborator. So, and a very good person, very encouraging person. So he said, no, Somesh, you sit down. I'll stand and I hold. So there you see, there is nothing as, okay, I'm his postdoctoral research student and he's my supervisor. So we used to gel around like anything. So he said that, okay, we'll have, and one of the research scientists took a snap of ours. So backside, you can see this is the lab as well. You have some of the systems, the bigger ones. You see cables running all around, long cables, the diagnostics, the PNC cables, which we call. So these running around. So this was the lab. Basically, on the side of this, it's not in the picture, is wherein one more system was kept, and I used to work with. So a very good infrastructure facility, a lot of things provided, and your ideas were highly appreciated if you could defend yourself. So that is one thing. He always had a vision for his experiments. I agree, you should work. You should explore new areas. Even if I am allowed to say so, I work slightly with heavy water, D2O, in which you work for the neutron and all. So we worked for months. There was struggle, slide data. Not, I don't know what is the present research going on there in that area exactly. So there we were, but you always used to motivate. You can work, no problem. So and usually you used to find me working alone in the lab many a time. Who is there with you? I used to say no one. So this used to be a common feature, and I liked working there like anything. So that is one thing. So this is the control room, the EMI shielded room. Such rooms are technically speaking very important, be it electronic measurement or electrical measurement, because this is completely electronics. And low power, it's ground. High power, it's ground. Has to be isolated completely, shielded completely. So this is an electromagnetic shielding room, which is usually present almost in all microwave labs, the high voltage lab. So this was one of the labs along with the digital setup, the DACs, the oscilloscopes. So therein, this was clicked by uh, Dr. Sergey. He was one of the senior research scientists there with whom I used to work. So this is one picture of the last day, maybe, or a few days in advance.
Okay, it must be a great experience,
Eh,
Dr. Somesh. As I can
Yeah,
see from this picture, and as you mentioned, your
yeah,
professor asked you to sit down here. So that is really a very humble gesture from a
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
professor he is.
yeah. So that was one thing I really liked about him, and you always used to encourage. That is one very important thing which I see. So that is one thing I learned from him. That one day we were having an interaction. So he told me what you are doing over the mail. So I told I have joined and all that. So in fact, I was very surprised to have this award photos on the Technion website in the department website of uh, the group. So
So
means
that's
I had
great.
just so he used to encourage a lot. So and he used to appreciate the learning. So that is an idea. So that is one thing I like it.
Great, great. You can achieve something with such kind of great professors, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. They are really game changers in the life of the students, and one has to be uh, really lucky to means I find myself very blessed and lucky to work under such professors. So that is one thing.
Great experience, Dr. Somesh, with Israel especially.
Yeah,
And now let's come back to India.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
now
yeah.
now we'll speak about your experience at SRM University AP. So it's a nearly 1.5 year to you. Is that my calculations correct?
Yeah.
So
I joined
yes.
in. I
So you
joined
please tell your experience about SRM University.
see as Dr. Anuj gave a quite a big intro about my profile. So I'll not say, but for a few points, I want to mention that if you might have followed there, you might have read, you might have heard that I do not carry a teaching experience. So after my graduation, I went on to do a post graduation, then two postdocs simultaneously, and then I moved on to teaching. So initially, I was new to teaching, uh, so we need to try different methods to understand, to get an idea how the understanding of student is, what are the better ways of explaining the students, and in the during this process, I used to enjoy teaching like anything. I definitely enjoy teaching like anything because you slowly grow as you learn. Uh, According to me, a person, a student, I strongly follow this from my postdoctoral supervisor. A person is, you can say many terms. People may differ, but a student many a times in his life. So he, as a dedicated research scholar, if I may say, means I used to see an older version of a PhD scholar just in my research supervisor. Always used to read, come in, means help you with your setup. Why is it so? So that things gave me an idea to implement such policies or things when it comes to teaching. So you should always stand as a guide and a mentor to your students. So that sort of an experience really helped me. I cater to different courses here with the electronics department, the basic electrical engineering courses, the electrical department with basic course and the second year courses. So I got an idea of how to reach, and I always try basically. I do not say it's complete. I always say I always try and will try till last to find it out what is the best way and to get to that best way of teaching. So that should always be to improve, to improve, to improve. So that is something I always look upon for, and I try different methods basically with that, even teaching and stuff. So that is one thing related to teaching academics. So that is the one thing. So
Yeah, so
that
definitely you are getting some new experience about your teaching experience at SRM.
yeah.
Yes. So now we want to know about what is so special about electrical and electronics engineering department at SRM University, Andhra Pradesh. What is the uniqueness that can describe to your to our audience?
The electrical and electronics engineering department only, I will not say. Here, almost all, or not even almost, all departments at SRM University AP are very much research oriented, research centric when it comes to teaching. So that is one thing we have tried to uh, incorporate in our curriculum. Very recently, during our Board of Studies meeting last year um, of electrical engineering, we had Professor R.K. Pandey, the Director General, National Power Training Institute, Ministry of Power. So he is one of our US external members. So he also advised him to going for the online courses which are offered by industry, such power sector training institutes undertakings, so that student gets in a real feel of what is his or her role beyond SRF. So this is just a start. A graduation or a BTech is just a start. We have to travel long, and so that is the main thing. I we have tried. Me, our faculty members, Dr. Tausif, Dr. Sublakshmi, Dr. Lokesh, and Dr. Upen Reddy, we have tried in a way to make the curriculum in a manner so that it is basically industry oriented, or in short industry ready. If I may highlight a little bit upon it, uh, we are coming up with an integrated electrical machines and drive system lab. So that is, by the name itself, integrated electrical machines. It is an integrations of not only machines, but machines, automation, and power electronics. So that lab is being developed by a well-known automation company in the world, Rockwell Inc., US. So the Indian partners of there are developing the lab. The lab is basically a joint collaboration, in, if I may say, of Rockwell, is with Kirloskar, which is a very famous in supplying machines to power plant and industries, and the National Instruments, a very well-known company of the US in the data acquisition system, not in US, throughout the world. So the DAC of theirs, the automation of Rockwell and the machine of Kirloskar, making the complete integrated electrical machines and drive system lab a step towards what we call as e-mobility. How you try to read the e-mobility feature, you try to understand, you try to see machines not as a conventional just a DC motor, DC generator, or an AC single phase IM. You see how the automation works, how do you take in data, what is the real functioning going behind the automation. Is basically industry 4.0 or industry is ready what we.
Yes, Dr. Somesh, I'm sure with the kind of faculty you have in electrical and electronics department with all the research experience, I am sure your students must be getting a lot of recent syllabus and the company oriented learning as you are describing about. And I am sure if people get those who are already into electrical department, or those who want to get into electrical department, they will definitely learn a lot from people like you in your department. So thank you for sharing that information. And how does Triple E department at SRM AP mentor students to achieve research oriented goals or to achieve certain kind of awards? How will you assure that you are mentoring your students on these grounds?
This is one thing I recently got to know from my students when I started teaching them last year, 2019, first year Triple students who are now into the second year. There is a thing in our university called as the Undergraduate Research Opportunity Program. So when I started teaching them slowly, such Europe projects, which we call, require a bit of advanced ideas also of later semesters. So then when the Europe projects were going on in the very last semester, I was in one of the meetings with the students, in one of the interactions with the students, me and I'm very sure my department faculty members will definitely agree. The level of output, the level of hard work, and the level of compassion with which they work to get to their goals, to get to the MATLAB simulations, very basic converter simulations, inverter simulations, UPS, it was really, really very heartening, very good. And means we means I can openly say we amongst faculties we discussed that at that stage when we were pursuing our graduations, we were not lucky enough and we were not that uh, into that research frame, research orientation. So such things at the very onset, very foundation builds your career of moving towards a great illustrious research career and getting not this but many more illustrious and bigger awards. So such forces like the research opportunity program, even we have told the students to carry out your research. Do not limit it to semesters. Carry out as long as you are here, so that you get a feel of the journey of research. And as and when our support is required, we get into the platform to guide them apart from our regular academic duty.
Yes, I fully agree with you, Dr. Somesh, that research is endless process and they cannot expect it to end within a
Because
semester or within a year.
because the
And
name itself says you need to search.
yes, and
So
with guidance of people like you, they will definitely cherish their journey through research. I'm very sure about it. Now, one last point I want to show is some photographs again, and let us see what are the big personalities which are already there in the domain of electrical engineering. So yes, if the audience can see this photograph, you can see you must have known these personalities. Raghuram Rajan, Satya Nadella, Nandan Nilekani, all of them are electrical engineers. And you can see that although they are electrical engineers, they are in different domains doing different jobs. So yes, but their background is electrical. So definitely you can grow as an electrical engineer. You can grow just like they have grown. And similarly, you can have in technical fields, we have people, Dr. V.K. Atre, Kailash Satyarthi, who is a Nobel laureate, you all know, and Dr. Pillai. So these are some the famous personalities who are having electrical background. And I'm not sure if you know this person, but she is the first woman to complete engineering in India, and also she is an electrical engineer. So we should be very proud of our oldest woman engineer and one of the oldest engineering department in India. So thank you, Dr. Somesh, for your time. And if audience has any questions for Dr. Somesh, you can please unmute. You can please raise hand or you can put your comments in the chat box.
Before the audience asks the question, let me thank both Dr. Somesh Vinayak Tiwari and Dr. Anuj Deshpande for this session today. Thank you so much. It was really very informative.
Thank you, madam, for providing me with the platform to share my experience.
That was really wonderful. That was wonderful. Anybody who wishes to ask any questions may feel free to do so. You can either unmute yourself, ask a question, or you can even type in the chat box. I guess everyone is awestruck with your presentation.
It seems so.
All right, if nobody has any questions, I think we can wind session. One last call before we wind. Anyone, any questions?
Yeah, if there are no questions, I would like to end the session. And I would like to express my gratitude towards the President, Vice Chancellor, Pro Vice Chancellor, and Registrar of SRM University, Andhra Pradesh, to make such platform available for the young achievers of the university. And I would also like to thank our Assistant Director, Students Affairs, Ms. Revati Balakrishnan, who is the backbone of this wonderful series that we are having. So we are grateful to you, madam, for providing our young researchers a very nice platform. We can directly interact with students because of you.
Anytime, anytime. It's my pleasure.
Thank you, madam. I wholeheartedly thank the management of SRM, President sir, Vice Chancellor sir, Pro Vice Chancellor sir, SR sir, all the deans, and with the support of all faculty members, and finally, nevertheless, the main backbone behind Revati Balakrishnan madam for conducting such a great series of titled Newsmakers, in which I got the opportunity to share my experience. So thank you, madam.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Somesh. Thank you all the audience for joining us.
Thank you, everyone.